all. Not the popcorn. Is everything set up for YouTube? Live stream set up? Madam Comptroller? Let us call this meeting to order. Let us begin with opening roll. Vote is open. Thomas, we're doing opening roll. I'll leave it open for a minute. Make sure every senator that's present clicks it.
I was not talking to you.
5 more seconds. All right. About 33 senators in the country. Is there a move to approve last week's minutes? Senator Valencia Gallard moves to approve last week's minutes. Is there a second I move? Senator Klein seconds I move. Any objections to that move? Seeing no objections, I move that move is hereby approved. Is there a public comment for this evening? Senator Ortiz hand was up first. We're passing on the microphone this evening.
Hi everybody, I hope you're having a good night, and I know we have lots of time, so I'm being short and sweet. I want to let everybody know that I've gotten a hold of the University Council percentage my involvement page, and my goals for this page are to advertise resolutions that are passed in this body to then bring to the council during our meetings. And also, if you have any surveys that you're working on for future resolutions, if you want to reach a greater constituency, I can post that on the My Involvement page and it'll reach all the students, so you can just send those to me. If you have any questions, I'm available via email or phone number, any calls I've been working with before, so it's located in my email signature. And that's everything. Cool beans time. Let's get rocking and rolling.
Senator Goldsman.
I'd like to motion to suspend bylaw 202.2.2 as it pertains to the 24-hour agenda send out time. Well, for the memo that I sent in that did not get sent out
There
properly.
was one memo that did not get sent out, because I did not see that memo in time, but there's been a move by Senator Goldsman. Senator Kenny seconds that move, any objections to that move? Senator,
Just amend the bylaw with this thing.
202.2.2.
That's for the agenda, the memo, with the board of 203 something. I can text it on you.
all right. That, it is that bylaw, though.
Whichever the
Yeah.
bylaw is.
That's Senator Ortiz is referring to. There's been a second. Any objections to that move? Seeing no objections to that move, we move on. Any other public comment for this evening? Senator Strain had a public comment.
Hi guys, a lot of you have already gotten an email from me or my department from the Office of Sustainability. I just want to let you guys know that there's a community service opportunity coming up next, like not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday, the 21st of November. People are meeting at noon at Collins Circle to volunteer to clean up your campus before the snow falls. If any of you need or want community service hours or just want to come help out, we would love to have you. You can sign up on Engage. You all can get posted there. Or if you just want to reach out to me, I can put your name down, and we would love to have you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Strain. Any other public comments? Senator Cooper, we'll go to you next.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to let you all know that CAPS is 24-hour now. You can call them if, it's 2 in the morning and you need to talk to somebody. Go ahead and call. Somebody will answer that phone. I know it's not been advertised enough yet, and I talked to Dr. Staffas about it. I'm doing my part by announcing it here, and I work as an RA, put it on my board. But I'm asking you all to also do your part and get that out there for the students that need it.
That's sort of Joe Dumbo, but he part of SA.
Good evening, everybody. Is it all right if I can?
Of course.
It's a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you tonight. My name is Zumbo, Joe Zumbo. I'm your Director of Student Legal Services. And I'd like to give you a little idea. Thank you. what legal services is. And, well, what is student legal services? Student legal services is a legal assistance program for undergraduate students that is sponsored by the Student Association. It's not new, as it existed since about 1981. We offer, and I'll try to be brief, we offer a couple of services. We offer consultations for students in most any area that I think I have a basic competency to give an opinion. We represent students. We represent them when they're charged with misdemeanors, when they're threatened with eviction. So we offer consultations, we offer litigation representation. And I make my own contributions to legal services to expanded services. I'm a notary, so we do notarial services if you need something notarized. Thank you. I'm also the instructor for RCRJ 423, which is a criminal justice internship. And students intern with me every year. And I'm its instructor. Folks, I will help students with whatever I think I can help them with. I don't care if it's legal or non-legal. If I can help a student, I will. It doesn't have to be legal advice. If you work on a college campus and you're an adult, I think you have an obligation to mentor students. So that's what we try to do. We have some needs that I'd like to talk to you about too. We, moved from the old campus center, where we were for 40 years, to where we are now in the B83. We need an adequate space. We need more space, 2 rooms. We have about 60% of the space we need. Now that's a long-term project that's not going to be solved tomorrow. There is a room up in the 3rd floor campus center I think would be adequate. Outreach, we need outreach. I have my own system of referrals. The local courts refer cases to us. The B-Law people refer cases to us. Criminal justice refers cases to us. Student conduct refers cases to us. But if you're going to put out something with SA that lists SA's activities and services, please include legal services. If you're going to table, let us know so we can flyer there. We need the help of your marketing director. This year, Ben has been a great help. But we need the help of your marketing director. I'll conclude with this. Why legal services? Why legal services? So students can go to school easier, so they won't be distracted from academics by legal issues that can cause anxiety, can distract them from academics. And folks, legal services may be the only way that a lot of students, legal services may be the only legal help within reach of many students. Now, I'm down in B83 on SA Instagram, where our flyer is. There's our phone number. Give us a call. Send your constituents to us, please, if they have a legal problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Joe. Senator Klein? I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you. I think we all should utilize that. Be aware of Joe's services in the student association.
Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to rise for a quick moment. I received an alarming text from one of my constituents yesterday about the state of CAPS right now. And while I think it's great that CAPS is 24 hours, it's clearly still inadequate in the services that it's providing. This constituent said to me that it would be very much ideal if we could get at least one new psychiatrist on this campus, because this psychiatrist is literally the only one that we have on site and does not have appointments available until December 22nd. And that is the intercession. And that is very problematic, especially for students who are having severe mental health issues. They need to be heard in CAPS and need to have a resource to talk to, and CAPS is still not providing that. I also just wanted to turn everyone's attention to an event happening this Saturday at 12 p.m. in West Capitol Park. It's another climate march by Citizens Action. I really hope to see some of you guys there. Our climate is very important, and it is literally dying at the minute right now, and we need to do all we can to protect it. And then one final thing before I sit down. I just wanted to point everyone to an email that my good friend from Indigenous Squad sent out to you guys today. The data report on our Courtyard Beautification Act, which will be on the floor tonight, includes a survey that we conducted that has raw data on what students are actually feeling about our academic courtyard. So I encourage all of you to look at your email, review that report before the bill does get on the floor tonight. And if you have any questions, us three are happy to answer them, whether it be on the side or while on the floor. I'll yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Klein. Any other public comment for the evening? Anjali.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
It's my first public comment. Anyways, so last night I had a dream that our Senate meeting was literally 5 minutes long. And I know that's like only gonna be a dream.
That's a dream.
But I think when we talk about being like time efficient and getting out early, I wanna make 11 our goal, not 12, because I'm in bed by 11 every day. I don't know about you guys, but I think we should, when we like look at bills, we should inquire about them ahead of time, you know. That should be what we're thinking about when we think of being time efficient, not just rushing at the last minute when we're approaching the end of our time here. So yeah, maybe you could be a little better at reaching out about bills when they're sent out before Senate meetings so that we're not deliberating so much and taking up our time.
Any other public comment for the evening? No more public comment for the evening? All right then. Opening remarks. Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you, what? Senator McConnell, can you have an opening remark, the public comment?
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I would just like to speak as a member of the public about mental health. I just want to say if anybody is sensitive to discussions about depression and or suicide, I want to warn you now before I move forward. This week, I was unfortunate enough to be in a position where I needed to save a friend. A friend who was smart, kind, complicated, and funny. No one should ever have to be in the position I was in. No one should ever feel like they aren't worth living for. That being said, Senate is still extremely contentious. And yes, I will admit the past two meetings have been much better. However, people have felt threatened, bullied, and anxious within the Senate body. We have to learn how to be respectful of each other as human beings and remember that the stuff that we deal with in this room, we also deal with outside of this room, in addition to whatever personal issues we face in our day-to-day lives. We will talk about separating professional and personal. However, we pick and choose when we respect those parts of each other. And it's tiring. We pick and choose when we want to separate those depending on who we speak to or interact with within this body. We have to learn that no matter whether we like someone or not, that their mental health is just as important as everyone else's. The loneliness that comes from exclusion can be overwhelming, not to mention we don't even know each other that well to make assumptions about our personal aspects of our lives. I want to end by saying this. We need to be nicer to each other, inside and outside of this room. I hope that we can get through tonight without too much back and forth. If anyone needs someone to talk to about anything on a personal note, please reach out to me or use any of the mental health resources on campus. Let's get on to tonight's agenda. Thank you for your time.
Any other last minute public comment before I move on? No? All right then, and that takes out a public comment into my opening remarks. Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a great week so far. It's been a very busy week for the Senate branch. My update is the parking committee is getting formed. I was recently informed that I have to go in and check the when to meet. So I'm going to do that shortly, and we'll begin coordinating those schedules to begin to have our first formal meeting. I'm waiting on the last 3 picks for the convention. Once I get the picks for the Constitutional Convention, we'll be on the road with setting up meetings for the Constitutional Convention shortly, right? That's hopefully going to be by the end of this week is what I hope for with that. We have University Senate seats available. There's 8 between me and the president, so we're going to begin opening up applications for that to be on the University Senate. The president and I are on the Senate by virtue of our positions, but there's 8 additional seats for anyone, not just an SA. So anyone, we thought it was the best idea to put up applications for that. If you don't know what the University Senate is, they're like the Senate of the university in a sense. Like, you know, they're their board, their governing board. in terms of legislation, in terms of academics, things like that. So they're like us on an academic university level. And it's very important to have undergraduate representation on that board. And so I hope that, if you are interested, you apply and serve with us on that board. All right, we do have a couple birthdays coming up, so I'd like to wish Julie a happy birthday. I hope you wish her well. I know we have our wonderful chairwoman Niega's birthday on Friday, and we hope she wishes her well too. There was a point about congeniality in the Senate body. I second Senator said a bit of congeniality. I was talking to Ray the other day, who told me that all of you are meeting with him, and the number one concern he's getting is about congeniality in this body. And all I'd like to remind you, it's on all of us. It's not just on me, it's not just on Div, it's on all of us, right? To be that congenial body that we be. There's only so much I can do, there's only so much Div can do, there's only so much the executive committee can do. It has to be on all of us to create that environment that we want to seek. One of my favorite people, President Barack Obama, everyone knows that we must be the change we want to seek in the world. As President Obama said, you must be that change. I'm imploring you to be and help with that change, because there's only so much that we can do together. So I hope that you help me in that fight. Next week, November 17th, I'll be giving some critical updates on the future of the legislative branch and where we're going from here in terms of next semester. So be in tune for that. That's coming November 17th, about the plans that I have for this branch and what we need to do moving forward. Like I always say, I always think the agenda is very light, and we're here till 12. So I'm not going to make any predictions tonight, but what I do hope is that we're out by 11 o'clock, like what the Senate clerk said, and I think we can make that happen. So that's it for me tonight. Any questions for me? Senator Ortiz. I believe so. I believe they are. That's it, yeah, I believe so. I will double check with that, but I believe so. Right? Any other questions for me? Vice Chairman, would you like to give you a report? You want me to read you a report? You want me to read it? I will read it.
No, I can do it.
You can do it? Okay. All right.
God, you're not gonna make me look weak. I'm not gonna look weak. Good evening. Really? Okay, I'm just gonna make this really quick. Couple of things that I just want to go over as a matter of housekeeping. Remember to take care of yourself during this time. I know everyone's feeling pretty overwhelmed, and that's normal. Let me take this off so it's easier. One, my lollipop challenge. Why aren't we doing it? Please draw your names when you do this. It's so positive. It's something that's really been good for us so far. I think I've been getting a lot of good feedback, and it's something I get really excited for every week. But if you don't draw a name, then somebody ends up without one, so that doesn't work. You guys, all 50 of you, have to draw the names so we can do it. So please, please, please be cautious of that. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. You have to treat each other as co-workers. Please extend professional courtesy to everyone in the room. Even if you're not their biggest fan, that's fine. You don't have to marry them. You just need to get along enough to work together. That's all I'm asking for. Also, in the same vein of professional courtesy, please try not to send things to my personal email because it just gets lost. So you're more likely to get a response from me if you use my vice chair email, because between like academic emails and like notifications, it's hard when 30 people are emailing you. So please, please, please use that email if you can. Obviously, there are emergencies, and that's fine. If it's urgent, that's okay. But try and use that if it's just like general things so I can stay organized. Last week was great, mainly because I got home before the date change, so that's nice. I'm happy to see legislation. Please keep coming to me with ideas that you have so I can help out. And also, when we are maintaining standards of professionalism in here, yeah, it's toxic for us, but most importantly, the student body is really the one that loses out. Like, we still show up the next Wednesday, but all of the things that they wanted gets pushed off, okay? So try and keep that in mind. I'm gonna sit down. Please don't have any questions for me. Oh, you scared me.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Just in addition, I would like to say, obviously, I have my calendar for appointments. It seems that ever since the Vice Chairwoman was elected, everyone wants to meet with her, but that's okay. That's okay. I get I'm old and I'm washed up. That's fine. That's fine. Everyone wants to meet with the Vice Chairwoman. That's fine. But I do have a calendar for a reason. If you want to schedule an appointment with me, obviously my office is open. I do kindly ask that you come through the front door so that you give Shannon and you'll say sometime to notify me that you're coming. If you come into the back door and pop up on me, obviously I'm gonna take it, but it's just, I don't feel that's fair to me nor Jeff, you know? We wanna be aware that you're coming to be prepared. We don't know if you're in a meeting. I do my interviews in there and stuff like that. So just be kind and mindful of that when you're coming in to see either one of us, right? So that's it for the vice chair and myself. There's no significant celebration. I'm hoping to get to that next week to begin getting student groups in this body. So that means we're gonna go straight into the appropriations agenda, Senate on 21.275 cents. Africa.
Hi, everyone.
That means not coming. Yeah, he's not coming until now.
Okay, so can we move this till 9 because Sunny is not here?
Official move. That's all. So with that,
What?
then the Senator Teaser, you have a move.
Yes, I'd like to move to, I'd like to move this bill.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, wait, it's Sunny.
All right. Move. Go on, Senator Teaser.
Yeah, I'd like to move to put this bill at the top of the legislative agenda.
Okay.
So
I'm
that
gonna
gives
move.
time-
I'm gonna move to put the bill at the top legislative agenda. The second I move, Senator Yeager, second I move. Any objections to that move? Is that objection, Senator Klein?
Point of inquiry rather.
Okay.
So pursuant last year with the bylaw change by Senator McCracken, it explicitly outlined an appropriations agenda. Is it possible for an appropriations bill, even though it already has its own section of the bylaws, to be moved into the legislative agenda?
I presume so. You have an opinion on it?
Can you repeat that?
So pursuant to the bylaws, the appropriation legislation gets its own portion of the agenda under 202.2.3.6 and 202.2.3.6.1. So is it legal for an appropriations bill to be moved into the legislative agenda with its own section of the bylaws already being put in?
I believe, I can go without a motion, which needs to be on the.
I believe you're correct. It does need to be in its own section of the bylaw, of the agenda. I would recommend that we move it to the end of the appropriations agenda for today, simply to move it forward. However, in terms of moving it onto the actual legislative agenda, that can be motioned on if the body agrees to motion it onto the legislative agenda.
All right. Senator Klein?
So I would just ask if Senator Ortiz would be okay with amending her motion to move the appropriations agenda to after, or actually immediately before executive reports. Would you be open to that, Senator Ortiz?
Senator Ortiz, what? Yes, point.
Or information,
Yes, Senator Ortiz.
are the representatives from the board of here?
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Then no, because then why are they waiting? They're here.
But Senator Klein, you are order, it's not a back and forth, so.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes.
208.5.5 says it just has to be on the agenda. So we can move it as long as we vote on it, right?
I believe so, that's my opinion. Do you have a contrary opinion?
I believe.
To be on the safe side, you definitively are okay to move it onto the legislative agenda with 2/3, because you can do that with any bill, move it onto the floor with 2/3 of the vote regardless.
You send the objection, so they're gonna move Senate Bill 212275 to the beginning of the legislative agenda by Senator Ortiz. Who seconded? Senator Yeager seconded it, right? Any objections to that move? Seeing none, that move is hereby granted. So we're gonna go to Senate Bill 212276. The glamorous golden next.
Okay, so this is Glamorous Golden Axe. They are a new organization on campus. I've seen them perform before. They are absolutely amazing. And so on the budget, I've spoken with the treasurer. Can you scroll down, please? Thank you. They're asking for 16 logo shirts to wear performances, as well as sports bras to wear performances, so they're all uniform. As a performer in a past life, having a uniform is extremely important to performance, so that's why they're asking for it. As you can see, it says 78% of the sports bras because they do cost more than we can give them under the new and unfunded budget. So we are giving them as much as we can give to help them with these expenses, and they are going to do some fundraising to fundraise the rest of the expenses that they need to purchase these things for their organization. And I will let you say anything if you'd like.
Okay, she pretty much covered the entirety of it. We are a new, an upcoming team. We did get, founded spring 2020, but because of the pandemic, we didn't really get to do any shows, so there was no need for, shirts or any type of uniform. Now, this semester being back in person, we are getting invitations to do many performances, many shows, and because we don't have a budget and because we don't have uniforms to look as one, look unified, we had to drop out of a couple of things. So that is why we're asking for a new and unfunded budget. And everything else that we would need throughout the semester would come through fundraising.
All right. Any questions? Senator Ortiz. Senator, move the call to fill the question. Senator Thomas, I second, I move. Senator Thomas seconds, I move. Any objections, I move. Seeing no objections, I move. We're going to go into a vote. Vote is open. I'll leave it open until 30. All right, I'm closing this vote now. Vote is 3202. This bill passes. That brings us out of the legislative agenda. And that brings us out of the appropriation agenda, I'm sorry. Okay. Ryan, do you have a report?
I got my card. Got it.
Hi, everyone. So just sign up for Senator One-on-Ones to meet with Ray and I. If you need a link to that Excel sheet, I can send it to you again. That's it.
Any questions for Ryan? Thank you, Ryan, as always. Go on the committee reports, Chairman Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. This past week, the committee has looked through recent bylaw changes on the agenda in May, and that is all for today.
Any questions for Chairman Thomas? Chairwoman Yeager?
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is having a fabulous week. So my committee did finish out and conclude an investigation. And so even though we have concluded with our investigation, they all wished for me to share some recommendations for the Supreme Court. Guys, please don't vote and group me. That was something that came up in our investigation. Also, to everyone who wants to file a breach of conduct, have all information presented within the breach of conduct. And if you want to say somebody violated the US Constitution or the New York State Constitution, please refer to which articles, because we don't really know what you mean by that. And that's all.
Any questions for Chairwoman Yeager? All right, Chairman Scamperly. He's right there.
I saw him on him. Sorry, Gil.
Good evening, everyone. So my committee last Thursday concluded 2 investigations. We have another meeting tomorrow as we have more investigations. Ms. Davis, as much detail as I get into. But as Chairwoman Yeager said, if you are filing a complaint and you include the U.S. Constitution, please be a little more specific than the U.S. Constitution, because that's kind of very broad. Same with the New York State Constitution, these are very broad. And also, just a reminder that if you need an ethical opinion, please email me formally, and I technically have 3 days to get back to you. And I would appreciate if I don't get emergency requests at like 10 p.m. at night, because I am in school. Other than that, that's all I have. So thank you.
Any questions for Chairman Scamperly? Teaser, I can't recognize a half hand, so teaser, either one or the other. All right.
Can we include the US Constitution in breach of conduct or breach of ethics forms? I'm so lost where this came from. If either person can answer, I'm just like on cloud 9 right now.
You're on cloud 9, flying high.
All right, can you just give me 1 second? There is a section in the breach of conduct form that you can pretty much explain that there is like a violation of the bylaws, constitution, stuff like that. And, or like Robert's Rules of Order. So recently, the investigation we did, of whoever filed breach of conduct, I can go into that, wrote the US Constitution and the New York State Constitution.
There's been a point of inquiry by Senator Klein. It's not, is it a point of inquiry from motion? Or no?
I asked the point of inquiry.
Okay, sorry, Senator Klein. Just to finish the answer.
So that was that. And it really confused the committee in general. And it just was really random. We're just saying, you can do that if you want. Just at least recite an article, something.
All right, now Senator Klein, here you go.
So my point of inquiry is just on the basis of revealing certain facts after the investigation. I just wanted to know that we're okay to do that within the bylaws and within Robert's Rules of Order.
Can you repeat that question?
That revealing certain portions of an investigation after the fact, is that allowed without any approval of anything? Just making sure.
My understanding, yes.
Okay. Got it.
As long as no names are mentioned, the confidentiality.
Yeah, there's no mention of everything.
Confidentiality is kept up.
That's the wording.
Yep. All right. So, Chairwoman Cooper.
Sorry, I was the Appropriations Committee is hard at work as always. We have another request already in my involvement. I've also been working with several student groups to get funding, new and abundant student groups to get more funding. I sent out a mass email. I don't remember if I said this last week or if it was this week that I did it. I'm sorry. I sent out a mass email to several student groups to reach out to them and let them know that the Appropriations Committee is up and running and ready to take requests. So I have gotten, I think, 10 requests now. And I've gotten several emails from student groups who are not fully recognized yet either. So I can't give them any money until they're fully recognized, but it's great that we're getting the word out there. So if anybody's getting the word out there, I really appreciate it. And I'm still looking for a clerk. If somebody could get somebody to apply for clerk, I would really, really appreciate it. Please and thank you.
Any questions? Senator Yates.
It's on my involvement under SA Appropriations Committee.
Any other questions for Chairwoman Cooper? All right, seeing none, Senator Velez Golan, Chairwoman Velez Golan.
Okay, let's see. So Chairwoman Sadler and I will be interviewing folks on Friday for the PR position. And so we will be doing that. My committee met on Tuesday. The ball is rolling very quickly in regards to our warm clothing drive. So please expect to see flyers out for that, hopefully before the next Senate meeting that we have. And please, once that's out, please share it widely. Yeah, I already mentioned last week about starting next semester, enforcing the bylaws for attending SA events. So just wanted to put that out there. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Any questions for Chairwoman? None? All right, Chairwoman Sadler.
Good evening, everyone. Meeting with my committee every Monday at 6:30 p.m. And we've been hard at work tabling every Thursday in the campus center. As always, all senators can volunteer to table, so if you really are interested, just reach out to me and we can include you. I've also met with senators to coordinate our town hall meetings. As of now, most of our senators have a solidified date and time, so I'm really happy about that. So I'm really excited to see all the town hall meetings come to fruition and just reaching out to the students and
Any?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for the Chairwoman? Senator Velez Golan. You forgot to say something? Go on.
Sorry, I forgot to say that I can't seem to still get access to the CEO email. So if you send the email to CEO, send an email to that and then just CC my regular UAlbany email. I'm okay with that. I have a very unique name, so it shouldn't be hard to find my UAlbany email. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
All right. Senator Goldsmith, do you have a question for Senator Chairwoman Sadler? Okay. Senator Goldsmith has a question. So go ahead, Senator. Is there a mic that you could pass the bill? Just pass the mic over there. Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering if there will be any money fund sent to senators who need to print out flyers for this, or will it be coming out of our own pockets?
so I actually have an alternative for you. Instead of having to pay money to print, you can actually print in the USA office. It would be printed in black and white, but that would be a free alternative.
All right. Anyone else have a question?
No, you. The hub too.
The hub has
The hub
been-
too.
Yeah, the
And
hub.
that's all colors.
Any other questions? None? All right. Thank you, Chairman Sadler. To my report, the executive committee obviously has been hard at work. We passed 2 resolutions this week, so we've been definitely looking at these resolutions, and it's the hope that that process stays, right? And so obviously, if you have a resolution that needs to go to the executive committee, you're welcome to start coming to our meetings if that becomes finalized tonight. But yeah, that's basically what we've been doing, is getting resolutions up and running and discussing the overall function of the Senate body and how best we move forward as a team, right? So that's really it for me. Any questions about that for me? All right. Mr. President.
Test. Hello, everybody. So, in this past week, we've essentially just been kind of like formatting what we want to do with the branch for the rest of the semester. We're pretty much in the third, I don't know, the trimester. We're in the third quarter of the first semester, and, you know, kind of like things start to scale down, but we're still trying to keep the same tempo. So for the month of November and into like the first little week of December that we have in classes, you can expect programming, some more kind of like engaging, leisure programming coming from our programming director, as well as some really big community service events. I'm gonna let our very new director of community engagement and outreach get into it, but we are working with the Senate CEO committee, and we're looking to have this really big community service event related to the holiday season in the general Albany area. So stay tuned for details for that, because we are looking to make that a really big SA thing. So just the general pushes around that, we're looking for your guys' support. I had a meeting with Kostakis yesterday, our bi-weekly meeting. We spoke about the library hours. I know that some of the concerns that I got from students was that the library isn't open as long as it usually is, and I know that final season is approaching and people are wondering, and I think that the message that they got was that hours would be cut. If it's your first semester here, traditionally the library is open 24 hours during finals week, so that people have flexibility to go when they need or whatever is flexible or ideal for them. So he's gonna follow up with me on that, but ideally I'm looking to at least have, if not extended hours, the full reinstatement of what the hours used to be, because I know that there's a lot of usage around that time with the student body. We're looking to have a speaker series again. Speaker series is something that we used to do every semester. It's in collaboration with the university and SA, where we invite somebody, whether it's an author, a public figure, politician, comedian, whatever the case may be. So there's going to be a committee formed around that very soon in regards to selection and just the overall confirmation process. So you should see some slight details coming up around that whole event pretty soon, and hopefully we'll be able to come into fruition for the spring semester. Yeah, I would just say that I'm still wrapping up wrapping up meetings with senators. I know that I met with some of you in this past week and earlier in the week. So if you haven't responded to that email, please do, so that things don't get distracted as we close up the semester. Tomorrow you should see the applications for the different committees that I mentioned in my previous report go live tomorrow. So there'll be a flyer on the Instagram page, as well as links to the My Involvement Forum. Some of you might have got emails to meet with me. They are related to the committee, so we will talk more about that when we do get a chance to meet. But I know that I got a chance to meet with some of you guys. But essentially, again, please be on the lookout for that. You know, good students that are well versed in certain areas, please send them those flyers so they can apply into it. People in their majors and different organizations, whatever the case may be. And that's pretty much it for me.
Any questions for the president? Madam VP?
Good evening, everyone. This past week, I've been getting my director of CEO and our chief of staff acclimated to their roles and getting them into the full swing of things. I'm happy to have them on board with us. And I'm also scheduling meetings with the three senators so that we can discuss dining hall resolutions for more vegan and vegetarian options on campus. That's pretty much it.
All right then, so we're going to, go on, Mr. President.
Sorry. Forgot one of the most important things. I would like to wish a very, very, very happy birthday to our Director of Academic Affairs, Julie Jasper. Just a quick shout out, Julie is truly one of the hardest working individuals that I've come across in this organization. I've been here for 4 years, so we really do appreciate you. Very happy to have you on our team, and very grateful that you do a lot of work for the students. So, yes, I heard you. Thank you, Julie.
Committee, executive assistant.
Hello.
Did the chief staff go on? Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I just have this, the orders changed. Go on.
Once again, I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Monroy. I'm the new chief of staff. Nice to meet you. So this week, I've been having meetings with the vice president and the president going over the roles of my, going over the specifics of my role. I've been learning about my new family on SA. love you guys, by the way. I've just been making sure that they're okay with their interns and their internships, asking them if they need, new slots for their interns. Talking to them about their office hour quotas and learning how to use Microsoft Teams. Yeah, that's it.
Any questions to chief of staff? Seeing none, executive directors now, we're gonna go to McKinley.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. For my executive report, I would just like to say I've been confident with the president and set up meetings with the senators. So yes, please look out for a reply from me, and as well as some clerical work. That's all. Thank you.
Any questions for McKinley? Seeing none, director of programming.
Hello, everybody. So far, my team and I have been working on a couple of programs for November and also for the beginning of December. During the beginning of December, we're actually planning on having a program tied into stress relief and self-care. There's going to be multiple stations, like a face mask station, where we'll be giving out candy canes, hot chocolate, tied into the winter theme of everything. So yes, definitely keep a lookout for that. There will definitely be more stations, and yeah.
Any questions for director of programming? None, the director of intercultural affairs.
Hi, everybody. I also want to wish everybody a happy Puerto Rican Heritage Month. So I'm currently working on hosting a dance program for Puerto Rican Heritage Month, so stay tuned. It should be coming out soon, most likely next week. I'm also working on showing a documentary shooting in the MRC to celebrate Native American Heritage Month. We'll also be partnering with Charge and Red Light to educate the community and discuss diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus, what ICA does for the on-campus community, and learn about land acknowledgement for the Haudenosaunee Nation. And that is actually the nation that the school is built on, so I think it's great to pay respect to the people whose land we are on. I'm working on also having the second MSAC meeting. The emails did just go out, so if you're in a cultural organization, please pass it on to your e-board. It's a good time. It's a great way to build connections. And I'm currently working on having a winter cafe program, so stay tuned. It's coming soon. And last but not least, I am reopening my intern application. So if you know two driven individuals passionate about the cultural affairs on campus and all the fun things you do, please tell them to apply on my involvement.
Any questions for the director? The director of gender and sexuality concerns. Ms. Garcia? No? Is there a report for Gus to be up? Oh, the vice president has a report? Okay.
So for the Department of Gender and Sexuality Concerns, they're having a clothing swap tomorrow in the GSRC between the hours of 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. If you're unable to make it and if you have clothes that you would like to donate, please feel free to email him at sagenderandsexualities@albany.edu or afleve@albany.edu, and they can find a time where they can collect the clothes. He's also having a program next Tuesday in HU 113 at 7:30 p.m. called What is Love? In quotations, Baby Don't Hurt Me, where they will talk about healthy communications and relationships and how to understand your partner's love languages and navigating societal and cultural expectations and relationships. This event is in partnership with Middle Earth, NAMI, and Marcy and SVPA. So thank you and have a good night.
Any questions about that report? Director of Marketing?
Good evening, everyone. For my department, we took executive pictures today for OVSA. I have a program tomorrow for a workshop for Marketing 101 with Aisha, the Director of the Student Group Affairs, and also Suba. And we just going over the basics of flyer making as well as how to utilize social media for your marketing strategies, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Any questions for the director? Director of Student Group Affairs.
Good evening, everyone. So that's still part of my report, but we will be hosting a program called Marketing 101, which will discuss how to socially market your organization and use Photoshop. and flyer making advice. It's open to everyone, but we're highly encouraging students who are PR chairs for their organizations to attend. This is also a collaboration with the SULA. If you or anyone you know may be interested, please RSVP using the link in SA's bio. It's taking place in the Mac Lab in the University Library tomorrow from 6:30 to 7:30, and seats are limited. Next week, I'll be hosting a beauty program that will give tips and tricks on how to do makeup, advice on skincare, hair care, and just overall self-love. That will be taking place next Thursday in HU 137, but I'll remind you all next week at Senate. And as I've mentioned in previous meetings, I am in the process of temporarily recognizing newly formed organizations. In order to be permanently recognized, a senator needs to attend one of their mass meetings. So please be mindful of students who may be reaching out for senators to attend their meetings. Thank you.
Senator Cooper. The microphone up there.
It's right in front of you.
I am so, based on what you just said, like the senator has to come to your meeting, SBPA has reached out to me and they are looking for somebody to come to their meeting on Tuesday at 7:30. If anybody is free at that time, reach out to SBPA because they are looking for somebody.
If you need their contact information, you can email me. Is anyone interested? 7:30 next Tuesday? Okay. So if you want to email me, SGA, yeah, okay, SASGA@open.edu. Perfect, thank you.
Any others to the Senator Thomas?
Would it be possible to get a list of, boys that you've given temporary recognition to in times of meeting or not?
I would have to reach out to them to figure out their times, but I can do that. I can have that for you guys next meeting.
Any other questions? Courtney, Director of Information Department?
Hello, everyone. The cybersecurity awareness program went well, I would say. Got a lot more people than the last program, so thanks to everyone if you're watching. Next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. in Humanities Building, we're having another discussion for Tech Talk Tuesdays, racism in STEM. Also, my committee is live. The Tech Solutions Committee is on my involvement. So if you would like to sign up for that, you can. I'm gonna update Robert's rules. It's on the website, but I was told it is a very outdated one, so we'll get that soon. And the bylaws have been updated up to October 29th, but whenever I get the new one, I will put it up.
Any questions for Court? Senator Goldsmith have a question. When you should just chop the microphone. Ha! That's Superman.
That's $250.
I was wondering if you'll be putting up any of the voting records. Is this on?
Yes.
I was wondering if you're gonna be putting up any of the voting records on the website.
If they ever get sent to me, sure.
If that is possible, can we please get all the voting records sent to Ms. Courtney over there so that it could be on the website?
I'll work on it. I think that'll be a task. I'll put a secretary to help me with myself. But we'll work on that.
I also have a follow-up.
Okay, so go ahead, with me.
Will the committee meetings and the thing that we talked about before be put up on the website? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the website. I'll collect links from the other directors. And then, I'll put up a separate section on the top navigation bar on the SA website.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Courtney? The Director of Health Sustainability?
Senator Burton.
You have
Did you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Do you have a Calendly? Because I'm not gonna lie, somebody make an appointment.
I don't have a Calendly, but I answer really fast usually. So if you email me, I'm like usually on that
Not during meetings though anymore because it's being in use. But I'll get back to you like within, like what to do the next week.
Any other questions for Courtney? The Director of Health and Sustainability, I believe it was. Yes, back up.
Hi, everyone. So as we talked about last week, we mentioned a Health, Wellness, and Sustainability Committee. The applications for that will be dropping tomorrow on my involvement, so keep an eye out for that. I am finalizing events for November. We're planning on doing tabling regarding sexual health, kind of like Jeopardy, just to kind of educate people. And then also like a bingo night with a PowerPoint. Also educating people about sexual health and safe relationships. Today I met with Senator Strand through her position in the Office of Sustainability, and we talked about the Sustainability Leadership Council. And then two things I just want to flag. This Saturday, the 13th, there's a protest at West Capitol Park regarding climate march, and there is a UAlbany constituency meeting at the downtown campus at 11:40. And then I was also notified of all the sustainability courses that are being offered in the winter and spring. There's a lot of great options, so if you want to get a list of that or have any more information about the march downtown, let me know. You can just email me and I will give you some more information.
Any questions to the Director? None? Thank you, Director of Civic Action.
Hello. So tomorrow at 7:30, I'll be having my Debunked Women in Sports program. And then I wanted to inform you guys about a petition that we're sponsoring and promoting, which is, well, the petition is to make election days a school holiday, so students can comfortably perform their civic action on their civic duty, which is to vote, without having to worry about missing classes or whatnot. And so more details on that. That's Gen Vote UA basically started that petition, and it's only at like 300 right now, and I think we can easily get like a few thousand with the support of everyone here, the Senate and everybody. So they already have like QR codes. The link is already in their bio, and on the 18th I'm going to be tabling with them. So like next Senate, I want to be able to like pass out something to you guys, or email or send some type of a link that you guys can post in your pages and vote. And not vote, I mean sign the petition and tell your friends to sign the petition. And I'll go more into that next week, but yeah.
Any questions for the Director? Senator Tillman, okay?
Can you post the link to that in the Student Association group page?
Yeah, definitely.
Any other questions for the Director? I'm gonna yield. Time. Senator Yeager yields time.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Student Association group me, everybody mentions it to send things there. And like, because Julie's like, I think the only one in it, and everybody's like, oh, send us stuff in there, and none of us have access to it. I got you, girl. Okay, then never mind, I'm just behind, and I don't have access to it. Or I was just behind my back, one of the two, I don't know.
All right, okay. You'll get that squared away. Any other questions, Director? Seeing none, thank you. All right, hold on. Director of Dippy Kills, Director Soccer.
Hi, everyone.
Where's the flannel?
Yeah, well, I had to fit into the theme of our pictures. And I left my brown flannel at home. Thank you. So just my report is, I'm working with my Associate Director, Robin, to develop a couple programs, some before this semester is out and some for next semester. So those include, just as a little sneak preview, some sort of collaboration with the Outdoors Club of UAlbany. Another that's going to be some sort of camping / Dippy Kill 101 to teach people the basics and get them prepared to go up there. That one will either be at the end of this semester or at the very beginning of next semester, and it will include s'mores making. So when that happens, be sure to pop out. The other one would be a nature walk led by my associate director, where you can learn to identify all sorts of plants and which berries are safe to eat on campus. Spoiler alert, it is none of them. And as always, Dipical is not burned down.
Any questions for the director? The day you say Dipical has been down, we'll all be in trouble. Thank you, Director Soccer. So we're gonna go move on. Yeah.
CEO, Director.
We have Alyssa.
You have to go for the new list.
Alyssa.
There's a new list that was sent to me?
No, you have to add them because you're listed.
Well, I'm gonna add it at after disability services. Yes, I wasn't mistaking her. All right. So we're going to the Director of Academic Affairs.
Good evening, everybody. So before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone so much for the birthday wishes. It really means a lot. I'm truly blessed to be working alongside such amazing individuals. You really make my life better and you inspire me every day. So some updates from my department. The Affordable Testing Act is live, woot woot. So please encourage your constituents to apply on my involvement. And thank you to the senators who have been helping with advertising this. It really means a lot. I'll be sending around the graphic as soon as it's made to help promote it as well. So my department had an event last night on professionalism. It was a really great event. Building Ladies Up and Embrace Like Curls co-sponsored with us. And it was a really good time. So some upcoming events in the following week. We have a Hangout with Kersey event on Monday. There will be succulents to the first 30 people who come. So if that's not good enough incentive, then you should be there. And research is fun, so pop out. There will also be food. And there's an event next Thursday that we're doing as well on the importance of properly addressing people, both taking the time to say their names correctly and also using proper pronouns, especially in classrooms. I'm going to be inviting chairs of a lot of the different departments and professors to come, but it's also for students as well. So please pop out for that as well. And then applications for the Academic Concerns Committee are live on my involvement. So if you're interested, please go and apply. And if you have any questions, feel free to always reach out to me. So to end on a positive note, every day we have the opportunity to better someone's quality of life. And that could be something as simple as sharing a smile with someone. I know it's a little hard with the mask, but still. So take that opportunity. Be the reason that someone believes in the goodness of people because we need that. So thank you.
Any questions for Director Senator Klein?
You're good. So for the academic concern forms on the website, is that still live and being received?
Yes, it just opened today. So if you're interested, feel free to go ahead and apply. There's like 6 or 7 questions.
All right, thank you.
And you'll receive, after you apply, you will receive an email from me about scheduling an interview.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Director of Disability Services?
All right, hi everyone. I hope today treated you well, and I hope this upcoming week treats you well. We mentioned a lot about how the previous week has been, we felt it was good, but let's hope the future's good too. So Friday, we had that really awesome director talk event that I've been talking about for months. And to say I fangirled is the understatement of the century. He was amazing. If you guys don't know who Jim Lebrecht is, check him out. He has the longest IMDb page ever. And if you're looking for something to read, go read that because he's pretty cool. And yeah, I did fangirl, and it was awesome. Now, if you guys all look in front of you, you'll see a sticker from my department. And also flyers on your tables, or on the adjacent table by you. I have 11 out there. Yes, Jimmy is holding it up. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, guys. You will see a QR code on that flyer. You guys can take your phone and scan it real quick. It'll take you to my survey, because if any of you guys haven't taken it yet, now you really have no reason to not take it. So please take it. And share that link with your constituents. The link will go right to your Safari page, so you can then send it on out. And if you want to collaborate with me, I'm in the office tomorrow, 3 to 7, maybe a little early, maybe a little late, depends on my mood. And Friday, 12 to 2, again, might be there a little late, depends on my mood yet again. And now about emails, if you guys have tried to email my personal email, there are 2 Paige O'Briens that go to UAlbany.
Really?
Yes, and so I am the P. O'Brien 2 email. If you try emailing P. O'Brien, unfortunately, I don't know who that poor girl is, but she's probably getting emails she has no idea about. And so let's not confuse her. So please just use my essay email because I barely check my personal as is because I don't want to check Blackboard. So yeah, please email my essay email. I'll get back to you within 24, 48 hours or 1 to 2 business days. Again, it depends on my mood and my mental health. So please, again, just email my essay email. And let's not email that poor other Paige O'Brien who probably has no clue what she's receiving. And we don't want to stress her out. And please don't stress me out as well. So again, all essay-related emails, please send those to my department's inbox. Thank you.
Any questions for the director? We'll go to the new community engagement outreach director, Ms. Kumar.
First report.
Thanks. So just reintroducing myself. Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm the new director of community engagement and outreach. My report. So week 1 for the department was mostly administrative. We were mostly getting set up. But I have a couple of notes. So applications are out for interns. So if anybody knows of any great candidates, please send them my way. I would love to help. I've submitted several proposals throughout the week. As soon as they're hopefully approved, I'll be able to present to you in the next meeting. I can't go into super great detail yet, but the CEO committee and I have something really big planned for the holidays, and I hope that all of you guys can be involved. In the meanwhile, I've been reaching out to numerous orgs and volunteer groups to foster connections. So if you guys are on an e-board, expect an email from me to see what my department can do for you. And on the flip side, if you're seeking to collaborate with my department, please send me an email. I would be so happy to work with you. And that's my report. Thank you guys for your time.
Any questions to the director? None? Thank you. That takes us out of executive report. So I know the Chief Justice is not here, Deputy Chief Justice. But go on there.
Speaking of those flyers, if you guys don't mind passing them between one another to share the QR code around or like airdrop the QR code to each other, that would be awesome. Thanks. I need like as many responses as possible. We don't have 200 yet, and I'd like to get to 200 by Friday. Thank you.
Madam Deputy Chief, I'm passing the microphone to her now.
Hi, good evening. I know Barbara usually does the report. She unfortunately had to leave early today, so in case you guys don't know me, my name is Arno, and I'm the Deputy Chief Justice. Not much to report, very short. Ray Webb was generous enough to offer us the training to the new justices on policies, procedures, petitions, etc. So we're planning on taking him up on that offer. And in addition, we're also looking for a new stenographer. Applications haven't opened for that yet, but if you know anyone that's interested, tell me to be on the lookout for that. And that's all.
Any questions for the Deputy Chief? Seeing none, we're gonna go Madam Comptroller. Huh?
I'm sorry.
Your report, Madam Comptroller.
I have to pull up the slides. Are you still doing this? No.
It's up to you. You have the time now.
Honestly, hold on, go ahead. I don't need the training, it's good to have. I did it in the beginning of the semester. Can I open your email?
Sure. Nothing incriminating.
Is the individual on Zoom able to?
Yeah, I should agree.
Oh, baby. Oh, yeah, it's been a while.
That's a good thing.
I think I did. I am zooming through this. Yes. Hello, everybody. You all know me. I'm Molly Donlin. I'm the comptroller of the Student Association. So I did this training in the beginning of the semester for those who were elected in the spring. But for those of you who were elected this fall, this is the first time that you're seeing this. I went over this with the Appropriations Committee and all the presidents and treasurers of every organization. So this is just a little bit of information about fiscal management in the Student Association. So starting off, let me move this. So I am the comptroller of the Student Association, which means I am the chief financial officer of not only this organization, but also the Dippy Hill Wilderness Retreat. I'm also the chief compliance officer for the Student Association. So that means I'm in charge of the finance division, and I'm also the authorized signatory on all vouchers. So that means I'm the first layer of approval when it comes to purchase requests. So as comptroller, I'm also the only person that has the power to purchase, sell, or otherwise maintain any securities or similar assets. So stocks, crypto, anything like that. We don't have crypto. We're not getting crypto. So I'm also responsible for the communication of our financial policies, and I'm responsible for being involved in the planning of all major events on campus. I also don't have this on here, but I am a voting member of the board for club sports because we fund club sports. Moving on, the campus designee is the second layer of approval on all of our purchase requests. So after I approve it, the campus designee also has to approve it before it can be purchased. This lays out all of the responsibilities for the campus designee, but you guys can all get these slides. Let's move on. The next layer of authorization and the final layer of authorization on all accounts payable is UAS, University Auxiliary Services, which I also serve on the board of directors for. So they process all of our checks, and they also hold our credit card. Viewpoint neutrality. So this pertains to you, it pertains to me, appropriations, Supreme Court. Every student association official has to adhere to the principle of viewpoint neutrality. So that means that all financial decisions, and it particularly pertains to financial decisions, must be made without considering the ideology or the viewpoint expressed by the recipient of said funds. So all documents concerning the decision to deny funding to a student group must be able to be maintained and produced within 2 weeks upon request. And if you feel that a student association officer has violated viewpoint neutrality in any of their functions of their office, then the Supreme Court is responsible for investigating that. Moving on, we are also governed by SUNY board policy and the student activity fee guidelines. So this is just a list of what our student activity fee can be used on. It's pretty broad. So we have like our events and programs, as well as our club sports, student organizations, legal services, contracts, our Dippy Hill Wilderness Retreat. And we also have a student activity fee referenda every 2 years. So we just had it in the spring. So we're not going to vote on the student activity fee this academic year, but the next academic year, that is when the student activity fee will be up for renegotiation with the student body. So keep that in mind. These, I'm just going to zoom through this. It's the same thing on the next slide. Basically, this is how we strengthen the internal controls in the student association. So we have training for all of our presidents and treasurers of student organizations that have a budget within the student association. We also have multiple levels of authorization, meaning that I just can't choose to buy something on my own. I need the campus designee to approve it, and I also need UAS to approve it, and then they send out the check and transact the credit card on our behalf. So in order to minimize fiscal risk, it's very important that you understand all of our SA bylaws, as well as our financial literacy handbook and constitution. So particularly what you're going to want to look at for the financial policies are the 500 section of the bylaws, And going against these policies can be very detrimental for groups and or individuals. It can result in your budget being frozen. It can result in investigation, derecognition. We don't ever want to see that happen. So it's very important that you know all of these policies. So if you are bringing a speaker, a DJ, an artist, anything where an outside person is coming to the university to perform a service, that would require a contract. Contracts can only be signed by myself and President Gudiabi. So if you are a president or a treasurer of an organization, do not sign a contract. You will be liable to pay it. Student association will not pay it. Contracts need to be reviewed by our attorney. So that's not Joe Zumbo. That's an outside legal firm that we use when those contracts are exceeding $5,000. And the Board of Finance also reviews contracts when they exceed $8,000. Before we purchase anything online, we must verify that vendors and internet companies are legitimate before we approve any purchases to them. This is why we require a W-9 for all vendors. That way we can confirm that they are a legitimate vendor. This is outdated university tickets. University tickets doesn't exist anymore. We actually just got an Eventbrite for SA. So if you are looking to host an event where you're selling tickets, come to the SA office and tell us that you want to put your event on our Eventbrite account. And that way the check, any money that you raise from that event will be sent directly to the Student Association. So super convenient. And also the students have been pushing us for many, many years to get rid of university tickets and go on to Eventbrite. So I'm personally really happy that we were able to make this happen. It wasn't a decision that I made alone. I actually had to get university risk management to approve that. So I'm very excited to announce that. We also need to review multiple avenues before committing to expenditures. So if you're making a large purchase, you need to go to 2 other vendors to make sure that you are getting the best deal. So just because something is the lowest price does not mean it's the best deal. You're never going to get a Mac computer for $100 without something being wrong with it. So just keep that in mind. You have to evaluate the credibility of your vendors and the quality of the item. Lastly, groups should never offer cash or checks as prizes. So the financial literacy handbook is required for all presidents and treasurers of organizations, as well as the appropriations committee, our directors, anyone that is trying to submit a purchase request. So if you still need to sign up for the financial literacy exam, send your net ID to saoc@albany.edu. Your net ID is not your 00 number. This is what you use to sign into Blackboard. Oh, also, if you are trying to get a reimbursement from the Student Association, you cannot submit it yourself. So you would need another signatory. So that's why we have both the president and the treasurer take the exam. So if the treasurer goes out and buys something for the club, then the president would submit the request to reimburse them. Our credit card policy. So the SA credit card is only to be used as a last resort. So this is for situations where you're buying something online and the only method of payment available is credit card. You need to obtain pre-approval from myself as well as the campus designee prior to usage. You must enter PR through my involvement prior to using the credit card, just like any other purchase. And you must attach a paid receipt to the PR. My involvement is our internal tracking mechanism. So it's not perfect. That's why we require you to keep your own independent financial record. That way, if there's any discrepancies, you have two tracking mechanisms to refer to. We also have something called Beanworks, and that's our accounting software, but that's not anything that the students use. So if you're going to get a purchase order, so the difference between a purchase request and a purchase order kind of gets confusing for some people. So a purchase order is something that you request when a vendor will accept an approved PR as method of payment. So that is Sodexo, Campus Center Management, Party City, Price Chopper, Lizzie's, Paisan's Pizza. Price Chopper is the most common. So what you're gonna wanna do is submit a request for the amount that you need, and then tell us what you're going to buy and how much it costs, and then that would get approved. And then you would print that out along with our tax exempt form, which you could get from my office. And you would use that as your method of payment when you go to Price Chopper, right? And then they give you a receipt, and you have to submit that receipt back to us so that we can complete the payment for them. And so this is really helpful when it comes to not using your own money to pay for things, and also not having to use the credit card. So does that make sense at all? I see Catherine shaking her head because we just went over this in the office the other day. So on my involvement, you're gonna log in and go to your organization's page and click Manage Organization in the top corner. And then you're gonna go over to the Finance tab and click on Submit Purchase Request. And then you would fill in the form according to our financial literacy handbook. And you have to allow 3 to 4 weeks to process payment. So if you're having an event, just be mindful of that. Because of the multiple layers of authorization it takes. That's why it takes multiple weeks, because it has to be approved by me, the campus designee, as well as UAS, and then the payment can be processed. So this is the life cycle of a purchase request. First you submit it, then I review and approve it. I can also amend the purchase request or deny them outright. And then after that, the campus designee, after I approve it, would either approve or deny it. And then after that, UAS approves or denies it, and then processes, cuts, and mails the check, or makes the credit card purchase. And then after that, the PR is transacted in my involvement and legal that's completed. Any questions? You wanted me to Zoom, didn't you? You got Zoom. What do you want? I'm sorry. Okay, no questions? All
You want me
right.
to do it?
This is a relic from the Tony Kelly era. Okay, you do have a question.
I do.
What's up?
It's like random, but
That's okay.
how often do you have to take the financial order?
Once per year.
Okay.
So this is the contact information for my office. Any general inquiries can be sent to saoc@albany.edu. If you need to contact me directly, my email is sacontroller@albany.edu. My deputy, Jaden Cupidon, is sadeputy1@albany.edu. And this is the campus designee's email. So if you notice that I've approved a PR and it's been sitting in that cycle for an extended period of time, that is her email. If you'd like to bring that PR to her attention. Just a note on my email, if you send something to my personal email, I promise you I will not see it. I get so many emails. There are about like 600 people, that's not an exaggeration, that need to contact me on any given day. So please use my sacontroller@albany.edu email. And if I haven't answered, please follow up. Thank you.
Senator Klein. All right, so this is not questions for the comptroller? All right, any questions for the comptroller? Seeing none, we move on. Thank you, Madam Comptroller.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, am I recognized?
Yes, Senator Klein, let us be in order, Senator Klein.
So, just in the interest of all the information that we were just given and to let everyone gather their bearings, I know there were some senators talking about legislation and language outside during the report, that we could just do a quick 3-minute recess to try and gather our bearings, get everyone back, as well as if anyone needs to go use the bathroom or something, that can get done.
Well, we want to do that after campus climate discussion. If I put legislative agenda, that seems like a perfect time to have a blitz.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so thank you. So there's no Board of Finance report. Is there a campus climate discussion, Senator Cooper? Yes, Senator Ortiz. You want a second that move?
So that is after the
Okay, so there's a move to Senator Klein's, there's been a second Senator Klein's move. Any objections to that move? Seeing none, okay, that move is ordered as soon as we finish campus climate discussion. Senator Cooper?
I wanted to motion on discussion about the COVID
vaccine stickers that have been seen being posted around campus. I think this is something that we should all discuss.
All right, so we're gonna move, second, Mr. Klein, any objections are moved. Seeing no objections, we're now on campus climate discussion about that particular topic. Senator Cooper, you have the floor first.
Okay, so
The
I
vice chair
know,
will share the discussion.
okay. Oh my gosh, please be careful. So I don't know if you all have seen, there's been a post going around Instagram that there are stickers being posted on campus, that are stickers about the vaccination, requirement at the school, things of that nature. And I think that this is something, as I respect everyone's opinion, however, this is something that is more of an issue because it is hurting other students. So, at this point, I think that this needs to be a discussion on, how this is making people feel, how this is making the students feel, and then hopefully we can come to a resolution as to where we want to go from here as a student body to help the students, because that's what we're here for. We are not here to, point of order and things like that. We are here to take care of the students.
Senator Velasco, go ahead.
I do want to say that I have been seeing the social media posts going around, but I also want to say that there was, earlier in the semester, I saw that there was sort of like an investigation going on by UPD in regards to the stickers and how they are sort of related to a white supremacist organization, and that they have been destructing or have been considered a destruction of university property. So I did want to say that there was an investigation already existing prior to this sort of resurgence of these stickers that have been posted around. So this isn't like the first instance of it being brought to university attention that these stickers are being put everywhere. So I did want to say that. Now, with that being said, obviously the issue has not been taken care of, being that it's still happening. And that there are tons of populations of students that are being harmed and could be perceived as being targeted as a result of these stickers. And I think it's important that we as a student organization sort of amplify the students' concerns that, I feel like I'm being targeted because of what the sticker says, and that what the stickers are saying are not a reflection of the ideals of this university, or of the student association. So I guess I just wanted to say that, and I also wanted to amplify that this isn't the first instance that the university has, kind of been trying to take care of the problem. But we do need to sort of, I guess, bring it to their attention again that it is happening again. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Senator Diaz-Martinez, and then Senator Yates, and then Senator Klein.
My comment isn't a comment, it's more so a question. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what these stickers, like, can anyone explain these stickers?
Okay.
Oh, I appreciate it. That's what I was about to say.
Okay, Senator Yates, you're next.
I have the same question.
Okay, Senator Klein. What's going on here?
Thank you. So I'll just say very briefly, I have not seen these stickers, but they are cause for concern. Second off, since I was a freshman here, there have been stickers placed on the podium, on the bus stop at Collins Circle, all over this campus from white nationalist organizations like the Proud Boys and so many others. So, this isn't just tied to the vaccine. These are people that believe the vaccine has a microchip and are literally being used to suppress a population. So I'll say very briefly, these people are really, really, really unintelligent if this is what they're posting right now, because we are at a literal crisis where we are again seeing cases spiking. 75,000 new COVID cases were reported in the US over the past week per day. So this pandemic is still here, and the fact that we have little white nationalist bullies coming onto this campus thinking that they can run this campus, spreading vaccine misinformation, we need to take a stand, and I really hope that we do. And this university needs to take a more stricter stand on this, because white nationalism is not welcomed on this campus, nor is it welcomed in our country.
Okay, any other points for the campus climate discussion before we move on? Okay, if the senators who spoke would like to maybe start some kind of email thread to discuss this further, you're welcome to do that. If no one has any other points, we're gonna take that 3 minute. Go ahead. Okay, great. Take your 3 minutes. Be back at 9:48, okay? It's okay, I'm fine. Let him eat. He hasn't eaten all day. The mic is easy.
Hold on. Hi. Are you mad at me?
No, I was like, oh.
No, it was not just you. I swear. It was fine. I was like, actually, so you were not like, I was like, totally directed at me. I know. But then I tried to look at like, everything's in my head. I'm glad, like, I was talking to you.
No, I understand, but it was like, the old me that made it.
I actually really good.
So you decided to jump.
Okay, okay. Can you be there at 7:45?
You want me to wait? All right, please. I got it. I can answer it. I think it'll be fine. Honestly, the mic makes it easier. So it's not.
I was like a 40-year-old over talking earlier. I had no idea.
I know.
You know in Toy Story where they have Wheezy and he's that penguin? That's all. That's the end of my sentence.
You're gonna look back at this meeting and then.
I'm gonna look back at this and be like, no, I was a trooper. Okay, you guys can start taking your seats in the next couple of minutes. There's no rush, just a couple minutes.
So they can suck it up, Buttercup. And we just suspend the bylaw.
I think we do it for him.
I'm just gonna wait for them. There it is. All right, take your seats, please. What's up?
I didn't get my tea.
Okay, if everybody could please take their seats.
Gavel.
Bang that shit. She got so excited.
I don't know where it is.
Nick, where's the gavel?
It's in the bag.
It's quiet. I'm not gonna do that. I hate that loud thing. No, I don't want it.
Do it.
I hate it. I just hate it. Okay, okay. All right. All right. Senator Cooper?
Yeah.
Simon, this is you. quiet down. Thank you. Okay, so this is Sankofa Africa, great org, and Semi is here, so I'm just gonna let him talk because he knows more than I do right now about Sankofa Africa.
All right, so hello everyone. I want to first say thank you for postponing the bill. I did have work before this, which is why I'm usually late. But that's besides the point. This is Sankofa Africa organization. We're a community service-based organization here on campus. And we basically help out in areas in the Albany area as well as Africa. We fundraise for different foundations. Last year, or most recently, we donated over $1,000 to the Diplomi Foundation, which helped out children in Cameroon for book bags and other school equipment. And this year, we're looking to do the same and help out, but we do need your help in order to do that. Recently, we purchased a banner. I do have all the pictures that was needed, obviously, for appropriations, but that's that. We want to have a pay and sit night for our members, just to show gratitude for the hard work that they do in the community and showing that they're also helping out. We have a care package as well for members of the Albany community, as well as students attending the university. And beyond that, we have baking ingredients, that's just for, bake sales and things like that, fundraising for said organizations and foundations we plan on donating to. So that's our budget, $3.99 and 44 cents. So.
Any questions? Senator Thomas.
I would like to move to call this bill to question.
I move to call this bill to question. Senator Sadler, is that a second I move? Senator Sadler, second I move. Any objections to that move? Seeing no objections to that move, we're going to go into a vote. Vote is open. A is you want to pass this bill. B is you want to reject this bill, and C is abstain. I'll leave it open until about 40 today. If you have not voted, please do so. All right, I'm going to close it now. Vote is 32-03. This bill passes. All right, let's go back to the top of the legislative agenda. Senator Klein. Come on, Senator Klein. Senator Teves.
Given that we have hopefully an hour, possibly 2 hours left, I'd like to be recognized for a move to reorganize the agenda to pass more things. Does that make sense?
All right.
I'd like to move that the order of the agenda be 68, 74, 71, 73, 72, 70, 69.
Can you say it again?
And I'll text it to you. So just so everyone knows, it's chief of staff, then the elections timeline, then the bylaw change for the 100 section, then we have the beautification, brighter campus, Senate agenda reorganization, and legislative reorganization.
It's been moved. Is there a second I move? Senator Rose seconds I move. Any objections to that move? Senator Klein objects to that move. See the nature of the objection.
With all due respect to the senator, let's just get this moving. It's 9:59. Come on. I call this objection question.
There's been a move. You call the objection to question. So A is you want to uphold the objection. If you uphold the objection, that means that we are going to keep the agenda as is. B is you want to dismiss the objection. Then we're going to go back into debate on the original move, and C is abstain. Vote is open. Yes.
Can you just clarify that one more time?
A is you want to uphold this objection. You uphold the objection, that means the agenda stays the same. B is you dismiss the objection, that means you're going to go into debate about the original move, and C is abstain. You need 2/3 to uphold the objection.
Point of inquiry.
Yes.
Would it be a 2/3 vote to adopt the amendment to the agenda anyway? Wouldn't it be a 2/3 vote to adopt an amendment to the agenda anyway?
No, well, for her move, it's simple. For her move, it would be a simple majority if you were to call that the question. But we are now voting on your objection. I'm going to close in about a minute. All right, so we're going to close this vote. A 2/3 majority has not been met.
But you don't count the abstention.
You don't count, you don't count it? I still don't think it's 2/3, but, so it's 28 votes in total. And there was 17 to uphold the objection. Let's look at the 60%. Look at the, say he voted A.
The votes are public, it doesn't matter.
All right, still 2/3 majority has not been met. All right. So, yes, there you go.
So now we're in debate.
Well, yeah, there's been an original move, right? It's been seconded, right? So,
debate over the agenda change.
yes, there's been a move, it's been seconded. We don't go ask for objections again, correct? No? All right then. So I presume that a move is adopted.
It needs to be voted on.
Okay. Senator Yeager?
I personally think we're just wasting time at this point. Let's just get it moving. We have a lot to do. That's about it.
All right.
You wanna make a move?
So, yeah, is there any moves on the table, Senator Ortiz? You send the original move? So we're going to the agenda as normal? All right.
Can I call for the orders of the day?
There's been a move to call for the order there. I believe that's, do we need a second? I believe that's like stand alone. Yeah, call for the order there. I believe it's just as simple. She calls the order today and that's it. I don't believe it's a second. I want to verify that. We're just verifying. I believe it's just she called for it and then that's it. But I need to check it.
Just take the second if you have it, you have a second.
The second. Senator Goldsmith does second that move for the call order of the day. Any objections to that move? All right. Senator Klein?
$250.
They see me rolling.
Cody's definitely not gonna be happy. All right, so this is S 21-2268, the Chief of Staff Name Change Act. Before I go forward, I am going to ask to make an amendment to this bill to strike 304.3.3 from it completely.
Okay, so you're just striking that last, the bold.
Repeat the name of the line.
304.3.3, the Chief of Staff assists all executive branch members in day-to-day operations. I'm getting rid of that. All right, so simply what this is doing is it is renaming the Chief of Staff, which is currently the Chief of Staff to the President, back to being the Chief of Staff. It was something that was done last year, which, if you want my personal opinion, was done in a very petty fashion. So I really just want to change it back. I talked with President Guryabi on the floor after I had made the motion last week to suspend the portion where it states to the President. Yidi thankfully corrected me, saying that I couldn't do that. So the next best thing was changing this immediately. So that's really all I have. It's just changing it back to what it originally was.
Any questions for the sponsor? I'd all remind you, the sponsor yield for questions. Remember to ask that, Senator Martinez. Huh?
I was just gonna say, can I move to call this board a question?
We're gonna move the call this bill to questions. In second to Kenny, second on move. Any objection on move? No objection on move. We're gonna go into a vote. A is you wanna approve this bill. B is you wanna disapprove this bill, and C is abstain. I'll leave it open till 30. We're voting, Senator Johnson. Do you wanna click in the vote? A is to approve this bill, B is not, and C is abstain. So make sure you get your vote in. I'll be wait for you. All right, then I'm closing this now. All right, the vote is 31-1-6. This bill passes.
Thank you, Senate. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit. That's funny. Chairman Thomas. All right.
Okay, we have.
I guess I'll do for myself.
Just like you do. Okay, yeah, Senate Bill 20.
Oh, let me get my math.
Will the sponsor go ahead and present the bill, please?
Thank you. Just scroll down for me, Chairman Thomas. So this was just some clerical. Huh? Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So the Legislative Reorganization Act is something that I've been working on for a while. I think it's something that helps improve the efficiency of the Senate body. So I'll go through each change one by one, right? So all legislation must be submitted to Senate Clerk. I did ask the Senate Clerk's opinion before I just gave him more work to do. I did ask her. She definitely does approve it. And so they must be submitted to Senate Clerk in a proper form with the sponsor's name, date, introduction, title of the bill. Within an appropriate time as the sponsor wishes it for it to be considered. Right? There used to be no later than 5 p.m. before Senate meeting, but how can we do that if all bills must go to a committee? So it only makes sense to submit a bill in the appropriate time for it to be considered. So the introduction of the legislation requires legislation to be sent to the Senate Clerk. The Senate Clerk will assign a bill number to the bill and then refer that bill to the appropriate committee in consultation with the chair and the vice chair of the Senate. So that's definitely new. So let's look at our current process now is that you have a bill as a senator, and I'm just going to use Senator Strand's example. She has a bill. Let's say it's a bill that has to go through rules. She'll submit that bill to Chairman Thomas, and then Chairman Thomas will hold his meetings and then give it all to me, and then I will assign a bill number and then put on the agenda, right? That I don't think is the most effective way to do it because then you have people sending me bills who don't need to go to the resolution at like 4 p.m. on Monday. And I don't think that's necessarily fair for our office to do. So I definitely just think this is a smoother process, right? So in this time, so she will give the bill number and she will refer it to the appropriate committee, right? In the absence of Senate Clerk, I will assume all the duties in pursuance when it pertains to those two bylaws. And in accordance with that bylaw, when warranted by extraordinary circumstances, the bill can bypass committee considerations because we know there's emergency legislation on the floor. We know that emergency resolutions can happen. If an event happens on Monday and we have it on Wednesday and there's no time for it to go to executive committee, that bill should still be allowed to come on the floor, right? So we understand that. Right. So now, I think, for the most part, I presume everyone is pretty much okay with that. Now, this is where we get to, I feel like I'm the weather person. This is where we get to the probably the most controversial part of the bill. And I do want to explain this, right? So we go to 203.1.6.4.1, all resolutions will be reviewed and voted on by the executive committee to ensure proper procedure in the making of the resolution. I was informed that there's a bylaw that talks about us reviewing legislation in general. I wasn't informed about that. But what it does say is that we will then, in that bylaw, it says that the executive committee will send legislation to this appropriate committee. I do think in this essence, if we deem the resolution to be the appropriate committee to be the executive committee, it will stay in-house, right? So that's how I would interpret that bylaw. That's up to your interpretation. That's how I see it. So we're not breaking that previous bylaw. We are just putting a new stipulation on it, right? So all resolutions will be reviewed and voted on by us. And I want to make it clear that we're not looking for content, right? There were 2 resolutions on the floor tonight. All we did is we looked at grammar mistakes. We looked at have there been proper follow-up. Have you talked to the person in general? You know, Dr. Christakis, one of the first meetings I had with him about in the summer, his main thing was resolutions with me. He's like, I cannot put a resolution on the president that's misspelled, and I can't put it that hasn't been checked out. And he told me that numerous times, that it looks bad enough to the body if you have legislation that comes to the floor that hasn't been checked. And over my 3 years here, I've seen resolutions that have come to this body that has not been checked. And we spend hours and hours in this body reviewing that legislation, making sure it's prepared and presentable to the sponsors of the bill. So this bypasses that. We are looking for proper structure, we're looking for grammar mistakes, has it gone to all the right channels, we're not looking at content. And you're welcome to come to the executive committee meeting to make sure that's not what we do. But in the event that you still feel that we did not do your bill due justice, you still have a fail-safe option. You can still, if it fails by the executive committee, you can still motion on the floor by a 2/3 vote. And the reason we pick 2/3 is because we have 2/3 for many things else. We have 2/3 for objections. We have 2/3 for bylaw changes. And when I was in the Rules and Committee administration meeting, when I was presenting this bill, a senator made a good point. He's like, you wouldn't veto the president by a simple majority, you veto the president by 2/3 vote. And that makes perfect sense. You know, we are the executive committee, not saying we're dictatorship per se, but we are the leadership of the Senate. If you are going to go against what we have decided, it should be a majority broad consensus of the Senate body. I think that makes the most sense. Right? And so that's really what should go down, Chairman Thomas. Right? So the last thing is the committee chair shall send all the bills passed by the committee and accompanying documents to the Senate chairperson within 1 business day to be placed on the agenda. Right? That makes the most sense because the earlier you get it to me, the earlier I can create the agenda. Because the only reason it gets out late when I have these late submissions, if I have it earlier and do further recognition, the Senate secretary does help me create the agenda, right? So if you give it to me earlier, me and Senate secretary can work to put it together. So I just think this makes this body more efficient. It makes us more like a real government in the sense of what they do in Congress. You know, you don't have any bill that comes to the floor in Congress going to a committee, right? And voted on. The Senate clerk in the US Senate gives bill numbers. The Senate clerk here should be giving bill numbers. And so I just think it's good to make us more efficient, more prosperous, and make us more streamlined to save us time in this body. I want more of the work that we're doing outside, so in Senate we can come have as quick a deliberation as possible to move forward. Right? So that's really my goal and my point in this bill. If you have anything to say about someone? No? No? They're like, let me try to save the voice.
Okay, any questions? Please remember that you have to say, does the sponsor yield for a question for the
I'm gonna try to keep oh, sorry, did he call on that?
I didn't.
I'll just go to the, I don't know if he called on him.
I was gonna start with Senator McGrath, actually.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Do the sponsors yield for a question?
Do the sponsor yield for a question?
What happened to the amendments that we made in committee? Because they're not reflected in the bill that we.
Well, they're not. Well, you see, that's where the disconnect. I don't want to, but when the bill passes rules, I expect those bills that pass rules to have the amendments in them. So that's a question for Chairman Tom. I can't.
Do the sponsors yield for?
A follow-up.
Yeah, can I make all the amendments that I made?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that they should have been on the bill, and maybe that's a misstep between the ranking member and the chairman. Neither here nor there, but if the amendments that were made are not here, please let them know. Yeah.
Yes, Senator Ortiz?
So I know it's not on you, because you didn't know that the amendments weren't added, but if this is not the bill that was meant to be submitted, and it's not the amended version that passed the committee, are we able to vote on it?
Can I?
Meeting.
I believe as long as we show the bill right here, the bill that passed the Rules Committee, that's the bill that should be voted upon. And we aren't really concerned with the agenda problem because it was properly put on the agenda. However, it was the wrong version of the bill. It was put on the agenda though, and everyone here can take a look at that bill and take it into consideration properly, given that, and ask all the questions they feel they need to ask within due time.
There's a point of information by Senator Yeager.
Do you have the amended copy of the bill?
at the moment, no, we've been working on getting the minutes together regarding that. So
Okay, so
what can happen right now is that the senator can actually ask for the sponsors to make the amendments on the floor. Because that's been happening before.
We can,
There's a point of order by Senator Klein.
My point of order pertains to legislative review. If this piece of legislation was amended in committee and passed in committee, that language must be reflected when it hits the floor of the Senate. Since this bill is not consistent with the language that was actually passed in the Rules and Administration Committee, it can't be heard because this is a completely different bill that hasn't passed the committee then.
I do not recognize that point of order. The parliamentarian just said that there was technical issues, as I just said there were. So my apologies on that. Mistakes happen. We're working on getting everything fixed. Yes, Senator Ortiz, you have a point of inquiry.
If we were to move for like a 5-minute at ease, would you be able to get the amendment sorted out between like you and the committee members so that we can see the presented bill? Is that like an option to any rules member who can answer? Does someone have them?
My ranking member does have them, but I did just rule in, and I did say that the senator can just ask to make the amendments because there have been amendments made on the floor.
Okay.
Senator Velez Galan.
Did you finish saying or addressing the point of order that you were saying earlier?
Yes, I did recognize that. I do not recognize that point of order because the parliamentarian did answer it, and I also did get my ruling on it as well.
Okay, so what are our options?
So our options would be to
Can you talk into the mic, sorry?
I'm sorry, since I had to bend over, so.
I think you can mix it up.
The options would be that, like I said before, the senator came back to make the amendments because we have been amending bills on the floor, so there shouldn't be an issue with that. That's been the precedent from before, and it's a precedent. It's just a technical error. That's all it is. Senator Alpetu.
Yeah, what's your decision as being the chair?
My decision is that the senator can make the amendments, can ask the sponsors to make the amendments on the floor. That was my decision.
if I could be recognized on that, for the sake of expediency, Nick and I will stipulate that whatever amendments you're about to make, so long as they were passed in committee, that's fine. So that way you don't have to keep going back and forth, you can just list them.
Okay, cool. I don't remember them all verbatim, but so I'm just gonna go look through it now and whichever things.
Would you like me to scroll to the top, Senator McGrath? Would you like me to scroll to the top?
No, I have it pulled up on my computer, but yeah, scroll to the top.
Okay.
First, I need to italicize all of the new language to be consistent with the transparent policy editing bylaw. In 203.1.5.1, I need to capitalize Senate clerk. In 203.1.5.2, I need to capitalize bill. In 203.1.6.2, I move to capitalize bill number. In 203.1.6.4.1, I move to capitalize resolution, the last word of the sentence.
Are you getting on?
In 203.1.6.4.1.1, I move to capitalize resolution.
Oh, and for the record, that was pretty much all the amendments. It was just, I didn't remember. I know it was grammatical. I didn't remember specifically what it was. It was just, again, technological issues. Thank you.
In 203.2.2, I move to capitalize Senate in no later than the next Senate meeting.
Hey, can you repeat that one, please?
203.2.2, capitalize Senate as in no later than the next Senate meeting. And that's everything that I noticed right now on my lab, and just a quick look if anybody has anything that they noticed.
Point of inquiry by Senator Klein.
Thank you. This point of inquiry, I'd rather have it answered by the parliamentarian. 203.4.1.1 reads, any bylaw
Hey,
changes
Senator
not.
Klein, can you, actually change the parliamentary inquiry, please, and specify it? Because you said point of inquiry, you didn't say point of parliamentary inquiry.
Sure. 203.4.1.1 states, any bylaw changes not reviewed by the Committee of Rules and Administration prior to being introduced shall be considered invalid. So my question to the parliamentarian is, pursuant to that bylaw, does that mean because this bill was not containing the language that was reflected in passage of the Rules and Administration Committee, is this bill deemed invalid?
Yeah.
Yes, I made my decision. I do not recognize that point of order. Well, I will can the parliamentarian get a mic, please?
I believe the chairman of rules has already clarified that the current amended version of this bill is reflecting that which has passed the Rules and Administration Committee, and therefore it has passed, its bylaw changes passed the Rules and Administration Committee in its proper form. That is the language right now being considered. So I don't really understand what the problem is.
Also, can I add to that? Also, in the bylaws, it does say if a bylaw is submitted properly, it can still come to the Senate floor as well. So either way, it still was, the proper procedure was followed. Senator McLegan? Yes, I recognize you for a move.
I move this bill in two questions.
This is going to move to call this bill in the question by Senator McLegan. Senator Diaz-Martinez, is that a second? Are there any objections? Senator Ortiz, I recognize your objection. State the nation, please.
I rescind my,
The motion's been rescinded.
thank you.
Go ahead, Senator Ortiz.
I just wanted to know if the sponsors would be open to one amendment, and then I don't mind going.
Can you answer the sponsors?
Oh, sorry, do the sponsors yield for a question? Okay, so what I just said, it's the one amendment, and then I don't mind moving it. For 203, if you can scroll,
Chairman
if you can
Thomas.
scroll up when you get a chance, to 203.1.5.2. Right there. So if you would be open to adding a subsection under that, so 203.1.5.2.1, that reads, extraordinary circumstances are to be determined at the discretion of chair and in consultation with the vice chair, and the clerk has the amendments ready, just because I know at the beginning of this year, there was an issue with who determines extraordinary circumstances. So would you be open to amending that?
That'd be fine. I thought though there is extraordinary circumstances is defined in the bylaws in previous sections, I believe. But I have no problem
It
putting
doesn't
it.
hurt to add.
It doesn't hurt to add. I just letting you. Can you repeat that again for the silence clerk?
She sent me.
Oh,
Yeah,
said
she
it to
has
you?
the language
Yeah.
up for.
So I'll make that amendment, and I'm okay with it.
Senator Velez-Galan,
Okay.
do the sponsors
Does
yield
the
for the?
sponsor yield for a follow-up?
We do.
And then I wanted to know, this one's gonna be a little bit tougher. If you guys would be open to amending it for 203.1.6.4.1, instead of it saying, and for 203.1.6.4.1.1, instead of it saying the executive committee, it just saying a committee. This way, if, say, something is pertinent to the CR committee and it's best fitted to go through CR versus executive, it allows me to go through CR instead of executive, but if it's also found that it's more fit to go through executive, it doesn't put that straight on it.
But we do dictate that it can go to the previous bylaw that you even mentioned. They even mentioned says that we have the power with the Senate clerk up there to design it to an appropriate committee. So if we see that a resolution is fit to go to our committee, but also fit to go to the next one, we'll submit it to both, right? We'll submit it either to us, we'll submit it to the executive first, and then we'll put it to the next committee as well. I think more committee consideration is not bad for resolution. I think actually is good. And so even if you look on top, we can still then bring it to the next committee after it goes to the executive. That's no problem at all.
So I hear where you're coming from. I mean, the good news about exec committee is that every committee representative is there. So they're fully able to advocate for if they feel that it needs to go through their committee in addition. I don't think that the exec committee would ever vote to not have that, but also that means that that's something that the exec committee should be aware of, right? Because when we're looking at these resolutions in exec committee, we're looking to see if people were contacted. So that could be something that we're like, okay, hang on a minute, we need to send this to this committee first because they're a listed stakeholder, they're gonna receive this follow-up, so they need to have that opportunity. If it was any other committee, I'd say, okay, but the fact that it's exec committee, every committee is represented there, so they have the ability to defer it in that same circumstance. That being said, I don't think it necessarily bars us from having the exec committee vote on it, but that option's still on the table. I just don't particularly think it needs to be written in. I think it's fair to have it just be an implementation policy as opposed to a written change.
Senator Klein?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The sponsors yield for a question. So, pursuant to what would be proposed change, 203.1.6.4.1 about resolutions being reviewed and voted upon within the executive committee, I was just wondering if the sponsors, since they are chair and ranking member of the executive committee, plan to ask sponsors of resolutions to introduce the bills in executive committee.
Yeah, you guys are always welcome to come.
The only reason I would say perhaps you wouldn't, because we didn't have the bylaw in place, right? So what we were giving was recommendations, and as the two resolutions, I think we voted on two, since we've been implementing this process on like a practice one, you could say. We voted on it, we sent the resolutions back to those sponsors, we explained the vote, we explained some of the errors that we saw, and you had the opportunity to submit it to get a unanimous vote. But moving forward, should this pass, you will be welcome to come to the executive committee, talk on your resolution, as we vote on it, see how we do it.
Do the sponsors yield for a follow-up?
Yes.
So, for executive committee and resolutions, you guys mentioned about how part of the review process is making sure that we contacted the right people. In regards to contacting the right people, who is the executive committee on resolutions? How are they finding out if people were contacted, if at all, and if they were properly briefed on whatever idea was happening?
So when you guys have scheduled your meetings with me, for example, and I check in with you guys on like what's going on with your resolutions and whatnot in general, then I kind of already have a sense going into it. So should you as a sponsor not be able to attend the exec committee meeting, that information has still been conveyed to me. Obviously, everything that, you guys come and tell me in meetings about who you've been speaking to, what kind of resolutions we have in the works, I communicate that with Nick at our weekly meetings, so we're on the same page when it comes to that. If it comes to the point where we just need to double verify something, you'll know when your resolution is being put up, you're welcome to come and make that, put on the record yourself. If not, everyone's a text away when these meetings happen, we can easily double check that. Again, we're not voting an exec committee on like whether we agree or disagree. We're just making sure grammar's good. We're making sure that at least someone was contacted, whether that's me and you've checked in with me or Nick or whoever the case may be, a committee chair, whatever it is. We're just making sure that step is followed. That's all.
I asked to move into debate.
It's gonna move to go into debate. Is there a second? Senator Yeager, that's a second. Any objections? Seeing none, we're in debate. Senator Khan, you may go first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in opposition to this bill, mainly because I am very uncomfortable by seeing resolutions going through the executive committee. And with all due respect to the members of the executive committee, I don't believe that a small committee like that, especially consistent of the leaders of our student association, should be deciding what resolutions hit the floor or not, and whether the resolution has gone through its quote-unquote due diligence. One of the things I learned last year in my first term as a senator was that resolutions were used to make sure whatever idea you have can be advocated for in the floor of the Senate and possibly signed into law by the president. Adding this extra barrier by making resolutions go through the executive committee, in my honest opinion, is really just adding to the bureaucracy of the Student Association Senate and the legislative process.
Yeah, I don't, barrier and bureaucracy should both
Anjali, do you have that?
That's a lot of
Anjali, do you?
words.
Yeah, I caught on to it too. I was glad to stop it.
I have a question.
Wait, does Sunday has a question?
If something gets stricken, do I like physically get the thing to strike or do I put it back?
Take the word out.
Take the word out.
Just take the
Yeah,
word
that's
out.
what I'm saying.
Don't cross it out, you just put a blank.
That's what I figured.
Senator Klein, are you done? Or are you?
I'm reclaiming my time.
Go ahead.
But as I was mentioning earlier, it adds to the confusion that happens with bills being placed on the floor. And it also adds to the ineffectiveness of this body. You know, and it really does trouble me that we're trying to send resolutions through a committee. Frankly, I think the only bills that should be going through committees are bylaw changes through rules and administration and appropriations requests through the Committee on Appropriations. I really don't believe that resolutions should be going through a committee right now, especially considering resolutions are used to be the voice of students, especially emergency legislation based with resolutions. To go on top of
There's a
that,
point of order. Go ahead, Senator Yeager. Oh, can one mic stay on one side, please, and one mic stay on the other side, so someone doesn't have to run, please? Just pass it around to whoever's on this side and speaking, and same goes to the other side. Thank you. Continue.
Okay, you made me lose my train of thought, but anyways, yeah, never mind, I really lost my train of thought.
Senator Ortiz. Wait, oh, hey, Senator. Yeah, go back. You can reclaim your time, Senator. Go ahead.
yeah, so again, as I was saying, resolutions should be just going straight to the floor because that is where it can be a place for advocacy, especially since we've had resolutions this semester that have been meeting these points that the chair and vice chair want to be hit on resolutions. So I really am troubled with this bylaw change, and I encourage my fellow senators to vote no on S-21-2269.
Senator Yeager, go ahead.
So, my debate point is just gonna start off with this. There is no, from my understanding, there is no intention that the executive committee is out to get everyone, and this is, you know, to be quite honest, this past week when there has been bills on the floor, I, saw a bunch of grammatical errors, I saw a bunch of structural errors, and we talked about it, and I ended up the next morning taking an hour and a half out of my day to ensure that the senators within this bill had the opportunity to go and amend it and to bring it back so that it was like structurally and grammarly sound. That's like a perfect example of why this is happening. Personally, I have thoroughly enjoyed this past week in executive committee, being able to review everyone's resolutions. Just this way is very efficient. I think, some people that may be in opposition with this, I can see why, but those are entirely misconceptions, in my own opinion, that this way we can, with every committee representative there, has the opportunity, like we are all essentially voices for our committee that we are chairs of. And so with that being said, once we see all these resolutions come through the floor, I know if there's something that ever pertains to oversight or if there's something pertaining to CR, like essentially all the committee chairs are advocates for our own committee. And I think that needs to be, relied on and said with that everyone has the best interest about who resolutions should go through. The fact, we're talking about the executive committee, we are a big team. And I think some of you don't really realize that, is that we are here on behalf of you all as senators in our committees. And so with that being said, I yield my time back.
Senator Ortiz.
I mean, everyone saw my motions. We all saw that I wasn't jumping with joy for the first bill, but at the same time, at the root of the bill, this is what we need. I'm not going to say my opposition because I'm really not. And also, after further discussion, if necessary, further amendments can be made to compromise. But we should not be sitting here arguing opposition. The point is, the root of it's good. Yes, we need the official bylaw that says resolutions need to be reviewed because resolutions that aren't reviewed end up being like janky and look like alphabet soup. And I'll tell you, man, I can't English for the life of me sometimes, and it's nice to have it go through committee because it helped me last year, and that's something that I learned. So I understand that. Also, you know, they were open to certain amendments, other ones they weren't. That's the right of sponsors. If everyone could look back and give me like a head nod, give a really strong debate point, or do we want to call this a question? Okay, so I'm gonna move to call this bill to question.
Senator Ortiz moves to call this bill to question. There a second. Senator Velez Golán a second. Any objections?
I already said my
Senator-
motion.
Okay, so we still are in debate. Okay, Senator Scantling? No.
I just want to say really quickly, I think, from being in the executive committee, and we, it's important to note that we're not looking at the substance of the bill that's coming before us. We are only looking at like if the proper research was done, if the proper representatives were contacted, grammatical mistakes. We're not judging it on the substance of the actual bill that the Senate would be voting on as a whole. And like Chairwoman Yeager said, we really do want the best for Senate and to be more efficient. And so this would help us get that. So I yield my time.
Senator McKenna?
Also, I just want to make the point that I think I'm not in like direct, like I'm not like all for this, but at the same time, all the amendments that we've had to make on the floor so far this year are grammatical errors. We should be in a process of editing because it looks extremely unprofessional to have this amount of like misspellings or like capitalization issues. So if we're just looking at grammatical errors, I mean, I do have a little bit of concern of who determines what the proper channels are. I still am a little iffy on that, but I do think that for like professional reasons, I do think that it should like have some kind of editing check.
Senator Goldsmith?
The bill itself, I think, is really solid. I actually abstained on this and rules them in on the 2/3 majority vote, which is why it was brought up in when the sponsor was speaking about it. As thinking about it now, I still don't like the 2/3, but I'll agree to it. It is important that we do have a fail-safe just in case it does not pass executive committee. We can bring it to Senate and it can be passed and put on the agenda of Senate. That is not like it's forbidden with this with this bill. I wish it was a simple majority, but it is what it is. I will still be abstaining for that, but it is what it is. And if there are no other debate, I yield to Dylan Klein, and then I move after Dylan Klein speaks, Senator Klein speaks, we go into a vote.
There was
Okay, I resent that.
Yeah, Senator Ortiz?
Do debate points have like time constraints, like, because I believe it is 5 per debate point, but I don't know.
To be exact, it's actually 10, but if you like to be recognized for a move.
For each debate point?
Yes.
I thought it was 5 and you get 2 debate points, which is why it's 10.
Can I move? Okay.
I would defer
Wait,
to-
but I'm asking, yeah, Yeti. Someone like.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Tell us comments, you
It's the accessibility to
All right, I believe what you're referring to is public comment. Public comment in the bylaws has a stated 5-minute limit for public comment. The bylaws don't say anything about time limits during debate, however, Robert's rules do. Robert's rules say 10 minutes per person, and each person gets to speak twice for a maximum of 20 minutes. However, each individual debate point is a max of 10 minutes, so you can't cumulatively make that up.
Senator Yeager? Yes, you've been recognized for a move.
Can I make a move to limit debate points 2 per senator for 2 minutes?
There's been a move to limit debate to 2 debate points for 2 minutes. There's a second to that move. Senator Cooper.
2 minutes each, I should say.
So to clarify, the movement is 2 debate points and each one is 2 minutes. So a debate point and a follow-up, or?
So each senator would be able to have 2 debate points, and they would be able to speak for 2 minutes each.
Okay, so we have a
So
movement.
4 minutes in total.
Yes, 2 debate points per senator, in total of 4 minutes. Is that a second? Senator Cooper, is that a second? Are there any objections? Seeing none, now everyone has 2 debate points and 2 minutes each.
Does that pertain to people who already made the big one? Are they not to do more or like that they already used it?
No, that.
Yeah, it would be a max of 2. Overall.
So just for right now, isn't moving forward after that motion? Now everybody has 2 debate points right now. Yes, Senator Ortiz.
Motion or not, you already spoke once, you can only speak twice. So if you've already spoken once, correct me if I'm wrong, you get to only speak one more time for 2 minutes.
So everybody that just spoke whoever spoke recently will only have 1 debate point after what the parliamentarian just said. Okay, Senator Ganeshan.
I just wanted to make 2 amendments, 2, 3.1.6.4.1.
Point of order.
Has there been a point of order?
Yeah, we're in debate, so there can't be amendments made.
Yeah, sorry, Senator Ganesh. Only during questioning.
Yeah.
Point of inquiry, we've made amendments to bills in debate before, so wouldn't that be a set precedent which then becomes law according to Mufasa, which needs to be renamed, by the way. Besides the point, but.
Actually, I'm not aware that debate points have been I'm not aware that debate points have been made during debate, only during questions. So I don't recognize.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Have amendments been made before in debate?
I haven't been around here that long, I can't speak for the president. I could say that most amendments that I've seen have been made during questioning. The rules technically allow us to be made whenever, but if the president in this body gets only during questioning, then that's the president of this body. I don't know if that's the president of this body.
Any more debate points? Senator Klein?
Wait, Senator Ganesh, no, she was making an amendment.
Yes, she said.
You good to go?
Yes, you're good to.
You good to go?
So, again, I rise in opposition. I just wanted to again add on to piggyback off my great friend from Dutch about the 2/3 majority. That is another thing that I'm very concerned about. I really don't think that we should be taking precedent of a veto power here. It shouldn't be regarded as that, nor should there be a fight to get a resolution on the agenda, let alone a bill. So I really do hope to see, if possible, move back into question and make that a simple majority vote if that bylaw is going to stay here. Because that is a horrible, horrible little idea that we have here to have resolutions.
Did you just make a move on making a debate point?
No.
Oh, I just make sure you can continue.
Wish I had my 10 minutes. But in any case.
Yes, it's been a point.
Don't worry, I didn't even know anything.
It's already been shaking. You can continue.
Reclaiming my time again. So as I was saying, the 2/3 majority vote is a horrible, horrible idea, and it really shouldn't be a fight to try and get a resolution onto the floor if it fails to pass executive committee. You know, I really don't understand why we're adding to the legislative review process, especially as it becomes to or pertains to resolutions So I really hope to see that if this does pass, that that is amended in a future bill to a simple majority, because there's no way that someone should be fighting for 2/3 to get a resolution on the floor. I yield back.
Say that one more time. Senator Bill, let's go
I see no other hands raised. I'd like to motion.
No, we have it
You do?
Yeah.
After they go, can I make my motion?
Yes, that's.
My move, sorry.
Senator Sosiani, go ahead.
Okay. Let's get from point A to point B. First of all, I think we're greatly overestimating the amount of power that we're putting in the exec committee's hands. There's still point of orders. If one of the committee chairs feels that this is not appropriate or that we're discussing the wrong thing, there's room for that. If that still fails, right, think about the alternative. The alternative is either resolutions come straight to the floor, which as we've seen has not worked in past years because that adds to the process in terms of what we need to do on the floor in a 4-hour time period instead of what exec committee can review in our meeting on Sunday. The other option is to make this go through committee. Take a look at your committee chairs. They're overwhelmed as is. If we start making every resolution go through a specific committee, that committee chair might not be willing to take it on. They might have a lot on their plate as is. We are willing to put it through exec committee with the sponsors present. If they feel that they have something to say on that matter, they're more than welcome to do that. As far as the 2/3 majority vote goes, that is something that is open for interpretation later on. If that was something that you wanted to come and speak to us about, that's more than welcome. Like, we never have either of us ever declined to meet with the senator, and we would be willing to discuss what that can entail. However, it is now 10:46 and we're still on this. So let's move it along.
Senator Shea, did you have the debate?
No, Senator Velez-Galan said, after who wants to make it. Yeah.
There's been a move to call on the question. Is there a second? Senator Ortiz, had a second? Any objections? Seeing none, we're going to go into a vote. I want to clarify the vote before we vote. A is you want to pass this bylaw change. B is you don't.
Yeah, you didn't open it yet, but explain the vote.
I was explaining the vote. A is you want to pass this, B is you don't, and C is abstain. The vote is now open. Okay, so A is want to pass this bill, B is you don't, and C is abstain. I'm closing the vote now. And this bill passes. All right.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to Senate Bill 212270. Senator Klein. Senator Ortiz?
Oh, no, I just have a question.
Oh.
Could you scroll just slightly? I'm so sorry.
Up?
Oh.
Is there a mic?
No.
It's right there in the candy, I think. Probably not.
All right, so this is S 212270, the Senate Agenda Reorganization Act, also known as SARA. Before I begin, I'm just gonna make an amendment as a co-sponsor to, or as a sponsor to add Senator Ortiz as a co-sponsor. So before I move forward, I am actually going to end up handing the mic to Senator Ortiz. Just a little background, Senator Ortiz and I have been talking about this bill for a little bit now, and she gave me some really good ideas last night on the language, so she's going to be presenting that portion real quick.
Hi, guys. I left my last one there. But the things I changed were, first, if you can scroll down a little bit, there were some grammar things that I changed. And then also, it would say the only persons that it's like a correction. Anjali has it, and I'll email out the exact thing, but it says like the only, it's like has to only be members of the public, it just makes it only members of the public. And then if you go down a little bit more, okay, hold on, baby, went really fast.
I'm sorry.
And again, it was grammar things, and also adding ex officio and, can I bring the laptop for a second? So I can see what I changed.
Oh, I don't have it open on me right now.
Oh, just
Do you want me
kidding.
to show you my phone?
Here, you pass me the laptop. Sorry guys, one sec.
No, not
Okay, 202.2.3.3.4, it says a lot of time to speak are strictly, 202.2.3, comments is plural, it's in the like, point 111 is improper grammar. Then I added 202.2.3.4.2.1, and it says, exceptions to these rules may be made by a majority of the Senate members present and voting, which is just in alignment with public comment as well. So it's because campus climate and public comment are going to be equated. Then I added the word to somewhere for grammar reasons. And then 202.2.3.9.6 just adds the executive committee report because it's supposed to be there, but it's given anyways. And that's everything. So basically, I made this look like it was written in proper English.
Oh, that's kind
That hurt.
yeah, that's kind of very hard.
But anyway, again, I thank Senator Ortiz for bringing these good ideas. Happy to always work with you. So just to explain this bill a little more, Mr. Chairman, if you could just scroll up to the top of it, a little more down. So as you see here, under public comment, it has 205 under the subsections of public comment. It's supposed to be 202. That has been in our bylaws for over a year and a half now. Also, I'm just making sure because public comment is time for members of the public to come and talk about issues pertaining that are germane and relevant to the Student Association Senate, to the Student Association as a whole, and to the student body. There has been an issue in now my second term seeing this, where senators basically have flooded public comment to no fault of our own. I'm guilty of it. There are many senators that are guilty of it. I'm just making sure that we can actually separate senators from public comment. The original idea here was going to add a general floor speech section after public comment, but I decided to go through with campus climate reform. Last year, if you can just scroll down a little bit more, campus climate was officially added into the bylaws last year, and literally under 202.2.3, what will now be 0.4.1, those two sentences were all that was there. And the original bill that was presented by Senator McCracken actually made it so that if you wanted a campus climate discussion, you had to request it 24 hours in advance, and there were no exceptions. Senator Yankee last year was opposed to that, and I ended up coming up with that second sentence that was my language there. So I decided to expand upon it, completely get rid of that second sentence, and make it so that there is a campus climate discussion in our agenda, and that it happens every single week, and that you don't need to motion on a topic if you don't send a topic to the chairman. Also, moving campus climate discussion immediately after public comment. That way, it gives senators a chance to speak upon the issues that were presented in public comment immediately following, as well as give the senators a chance to just speak about anything without hindering the time of the public. Because again, public comment is time for strictly members of the public to speak. Getting bullied up here. But also, this does reorder the bylaws a bit, since I am moving a little bit up. Another provision that I do want to touch on before I will take questions is 202.2.3.4.2.3, which states for any non-official ex officio member of the Student Association seeking to make a remark during campus climate discussion may have time yielded to them by a senator. So I want to make sure that senators get their 5 minutes, so I include a sub-provision into that yielding of time does not count against the senator's 5 minutes already granted in campus climate discussion. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I will yield to you to answer questions.
Questions? Senator Cooper? Does the senator yield? Yes, you, Senator yields for a question.
Okay, first, I want to ask if you guys are open to make a amendment, if I can find where I wanted it, that'd be great.
Where it says the time yielded, where is that again? Time yielded with 5 minutes, does it not count against?
Yes, right here.
202.2.3.4.2.3.
Wow.
Oh.
You can say that very clear.
No, I did not. Well, can you just point to which one?
It's light.
Yeah, on that, can we add the yielding of time by individual senator to a non-senator? Because,
It says non-ex officio member, which is essentially anyone who's not a senator or like considered ex officios, like president, comptroller, etc.
Sorry, Senator Yeager.
can you scroll up, please? Oh, do the sponsors yield for a question?
Do you yield? Sponsors yield.
Okay, okay, stop.
202.2.3.3.4.1.
Yeah, keep going up. Wait up.
It's right here. This bylaw, I think she referenced right here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to sponsor, well, I would like to move for an amendment that members of the,
What line?
so at the end, can I, where it says like student association, I would like to add the word branches to the end of that sentence. Just so because e-board members are technically elected through their student groups. And if they're an SA recognized student groups, it just kind of covers all the bases, saying that they are for like the public, you know, because they are members of the public, but just so we dot our i's, cross our t's, that's about it.
So for just after that bylaw, at the very end of the sentence, put the word branches. And I'll send it in a text too.
You're chilling.
And then after that, I'm actually, as a co-sponsor, gonna make an amendment to then define which branches. Because I feel like that's not defined. And so that'll be added in there, and that's just gonna list. No, I think it, oh yeah, it would.
Did you make the amendment?
Yeah, we made the amendment to add branches, and
Or
then.
they had a different amendment besides that? No?
Yes, it's gonna make, so point 1 is gonna define the branches, and then point 2 is going to be committee clerks. So all it's doing is bumping it down so that we can define what branches are.
Huh, okay. So, still in question, right? Senator Strand?
So I want to clarify, like tonight I made a public comment and on behalf of like my organization or like my separate job, and no one else from my department could come. And I wanted that during public comment because people from the public were here and hadn't left yet, and senators were here and hadn't left yet. What happens in that instance, because I'm a senator and no one from my department could come, how do I make my announcement? It was just a community service announcement, not like a appointed Senate thing.
So I would say that, in my opinion, and in accordance to these bylaws, that you should be able to make that public comment. Of course, it would be up to the discretion of the chair, but I would encourage that, with the chair, that if there are senators talking on behalf of a student org or a office ran by students, that's an applicable public comment.
It also came up last year, if anyone here knows, Chief of Staff Bondi from last year, she came into a public comment and said, I'm not Chief of Staff right now, I'm President of Debate Club, and I feel like that distinction is still allowed. Again, it would be at the discretion of the chair, but you can come in and say, I work with the Office of Health and Sustainability, that's the capacity I'm in right now, and that will allow you to speak during public comment.
And I'll just say, to add on, that I would, if the chair does not allow that, that I would so immediately motion to support a representative who is a senator from a student group to appeal the decision of the chair. Just saying, because I do support senators being able to talk on behalf of orgs in public comment.
Mr. Chairman, do they go for follow-up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you for follow-up? Yeah, responsive to you.
Did he have anything? I'm just really sorry.
He did, but you're first, and then he'll go.
Sorry, if it's that complicated, why is it included in this, like I get what you're trying to do in other areas, but like, is there any way to put it, incorporate it in there, that way you don't like appeal the decision of the chair and do all these things, just so like you can make public service announcements, like as long as they're not directly Senate related, is that what you're trying to get at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what I would say, right?
So I completely understand what you're saying, Senator Strand, and to follow on that, it would be a good amendment if you do have language for that. Of course, you are welcome to propose that. I would not be opposed to any additional language being made in that case, but I will say that I do wholeheartedly believe that if you are a senator, you need to be, and you need to make a remark on behalf of a student org, that you should be entitled to make that in public comment, because you are literally saying that you are a representative of a student org.
Hey guys,
Woo! Every time we go through this, because I've asked Christine, she said you have it till 11, but you need it till 12, you're allowed to stay until 12. Every week.
Dude, you had like 4 weeks to talk to the higher ups to make a plan.
And I told them the plan every week. I've asked them for the plan. I specifically went up to her and said, yes, you have it till 11, but if you need it till 12, you're able to stay till 12. I've asked Christine this every week.
Show me the email and I'll file me.
I've asked her personally. Within talks, she's told me the reservations is here till 11, we have till 12. I've asked her multiple weeks. We've gone through this every week. We're almost done. I think if you give us, we can finish in half an hour. Yeah.
I plan to sign it to a midnight. I don't have time. I'm sorry.
I've talked to Doc.
Give us 1 moment.
Yeah. I've talked to Christine. I've talked to
If possible, Mr. Chairman, can I make a move?
We can have the assembly outside.
Please don't. I don't have a voice others. Please don't do that to me.
I know it's not actually just take pictures outside.
All right. Okay.
We have they can go into a recess. It's like a whole ass agenda.
It's outside though.
We're taking this outside.
We can hold an assembly
We're
somewhere
not
else.
putting it outside, you can't record it, I'm not doing that.
Recess, because we can recess until next week. It's a long agenda, because if we go, we can't adjourn, and then everything gets pushed off because we call the rest of the day. So it has to all get moved to old business. Or Monday.
Is it possible we could recess till tomorrow night? Yeah, if we, it's not a special, it's a recess, it's a continuation of the meeting.
Now you go. You're talking to two big Robert report. So you can either Zoom on Monday to give people time, or you can and then we wouldn't make quorum today.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Kick us out and call the order. So that's your choice.
All right. So. All right.
I won't be here though.
So.
Okay, God, we got it.
So here's what we're gonna do. I will go to Christine tomorrow and get that in writing, and I will show him tomorrow because we have this room till 12. She's told me that multiple times, but clearly that is not the option afforded to us tonight, and that is unfortunate because we have work to do. Nonetheless, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move to recess this meeting. We are in talks about when we will finish it. If you have to have a special, wait till next week. But that is talks that is going on now. So there's a move to recess this meeting. Moved by Senator Cooper, second by Senator Klein. Any objections? Seeing no objections, this meeting is adjourned.
Yeah. Hey, we're at like 10:30.
I gotta get my update.
Don't lose your tonight. Is that okay?
Have a good night.
I know.
Oh my God. I did have to choose one.
It's always fucking something. Yeah, I know, right?
It wasn't even on the record.
I'm so fucking glad. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I dare you. What?
Oh my God.
Didn't even close it right.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
So rude.
Who cares?
You're so rude.
Don't give a damn shit.
You're so rude.
Stop.
You're supposed to be nice on me.
I am not. I am right now. So, no one is good. I feel like things like that.
Okay? Usually, whatever you say.
Oh,
Where did the mics go again?